afternoon. My name's Kirsty Kelly. I'm your host this afternoon. Now, I'm going to be introducing you. I said this Inspire stage definitely has some inspirational people. We've just been talking about skills hiring in Rolls-Royce. And now I want to introduce you to an amazing man. So my knowledge of this guy, James, is as a prolific businessman for a number of years. You've knocked around this industry for a while. But actually, James is going to be talking about personal resilience and how to make decisions. But this isn't just any old story, is it, James? And he may say a few honest words. So could you give me a wonderful round of applause for the man that is James Mays, founder and CEO at Rodeo? Come on up, and I'm going to get off and let you do your thing.
Thanks, Kirsty.
Good luck.
Thank you all. Pleasure to be here. Been a long-time fan of Wreckfests, although I missed a few because I ran my own event business that had regular events that clashed with it. As you might noticed, going without slides today, going with the prompt cards, a little bit old school, because I'm getting more and more irritated with the broken promise of technology. Technology promised to bring us closer together, but in so many ways we are further apart than ever. When was the last time you picked up the phone and called someone to wish them a happy birthday instead of just sending them an emoji? So we're going prompt cards. This talk starts in January 24, where I was getting a few headaches. Went to the opticians for an eye check, and 10 days later, I was in brain surgery. The optician revealed pressure on the back of my optical disc, and MRI diagnosed a 9-centimetre brain tumour right here. And for anybody that's curious as to what that really looks like, come find me afterwards. I have a 3D printed model, and you can have a look at what they actually took out. So this is the story of how I got through that year. Bearing in mind it was a crisis year for me, and with the way tooling is changing across the recruiting and HR landscape, it's a crisis year for this industry as well. There's an awful lot of change and an awful lot of people that are struggling. So maybe some of the approaches that I used will help a few people here as well. But first, I want to start you off by just understanding the context in which my year started. We talk a lot at these events about how to have tough conversations. Mostly, you're not having tough conversations. You're having badly planned conversations. A tough conversation is sitting down with your children and telling them that you just learned you have malignant brain cancer. That is a tough conversation. The first thing I did was assemble around me the people that I felt I'd need to get through this year. That's Beth, mother of my children, who's been an absolutely immense support for me and getting them through this. My partner, Jana, who's been tireless on the medical options and the research to see what we can do. And I lent hard on community as well. My previous business was a community and events business. That community supported me. As I know, for people in this room, if you hit hard times, you can lean into your community and they will help you too. The most immediate loss that hit me was not just the fact that I had a brain tumour and was going to go through cancer treatment, but also that there would be permanent losses even if I won. Things like, I'm probably never going to get my licence back and never teach my son to drive. That kind of thing just keeps coming. So what I had to do was find methods of personal resilience to get me through treatment, but also to maintain my mental state, and in order to help me make better decisions. Any psychologist will tell you that a stressed human makes an irrational decision. And when you're going something like cancer treatment or putting together a last will and testament, an irrational decision is the last thing you need. So my first objective was to figure out whose lens could I trust when making these decisions. And I chose my father. He was always my idol and was rock solid my entire life. So whenever I was making any decisions, the first port of call was, what would my father do? Just check it through that lens, give myself some comfort that I was making decent decisions. And from there, understand what treatment looked like and started to build both goals and routines that might see me through. So one of the first things that we realized was that treatment was going to be rough. There was going to be brain surgery, radiotherapy, chemotherapy. So I set a goal. Spoke to my children and said, at the end of this, when we get through treatment, I'll be about 50. That feels like a great time to go fucking skiing. And we did. February this year, we went up a mountain in Austria and we celebrated victory with a week ski trip. Not only did it give us a shared goal to work towards, it also gave me a thing to drive at. I don't know how many of you ski or snowboard, but you need to have a reasonable level of physical ability. So rather than sitting on my ass on the couch going through this, I was up and doing. When they put me through brain surgery, they said you'll be 3 weeks on a high dependency ward for recovery. And you can try and do rehab exercises like moving things, getting up and around. 3 weeks. You can see me moving around here. I can't sit still for 3 weeks. They kept me in 3 days, sent me home. After that, they said, okay, you're clearly made of decent stuff. We'll do the radio and the chemo combined. It's called the STOP protocol. It's about the toughest set of treatments that we do, but it gives the best chances of success if you can take it. We'll warn you now, only 50% of patients actually see it through because it's rough, and you won't leave your couch. All right, bring it. For the next few months, I ran 5K every week and then published my first book. So if you want to read about communities and stuff, there's something out there on Amazon for me now. So it helps. But I've built the personal routines to maintain that level of mobility throughout. So things like 5 minutes yoga a day, just to keep the body moving. 5 minutes meditation a day, just to try to clear the mind so that I could settle and work. Listening to music when needed, just to lift the spirits and keep the mood moving. And practicing daily gratitude. You know, my surgeon said that if we can get 70% out on the table, he'd be happy. And there was a 90% risk of damage to eyesight. My eyesight is 100%, and he got 90% out on the table. So I had reasons to be happy, despite a pretty terrifying diagnosis. Reasons to be cheerful, I think they call it. So I was practicing daily gratitude and that. And I also came across a poem from an American poet called Walt Whitman. And I turned that into a visualization exercise. The poem contains the line, "We contain multitudes." That is true of all of us. Whatever you feel like right now, I'm a talent acquisition specialist in a hot room, yeah, you are so much more than that. And I started to visualize that walking along Brighton Beach one day and really draw some strength from it. I started thinking, I'm a son, I'm a father, I'm a terrible musician, I'm a reasonable cook, I'm an occasional founder. I contain all of these things. And when you feel these beings coming together, you draw on the energy from these multitudes, you can start to put yourself back together. You can start to feel some power. Then I got into the science side of things because, like many, having agency in a terrible situation helps. The feeling that you are powerless is one of the worst. So how could I take agency in this situation? Well, I'd watched the movie The Martian not long before. For those of you who've seen it, you might recall Matt Damon's lab on Mars blows up. Food supplies gone on the surface of Mars. In the face of overwhelming odds, I could draw only one conclusion. I was going to have to science the shit out of this. So I got stuck into AI tools, particularly Perplexity, started to understand what things like chemotherapy would do and how I might combat that. It's going to crash your white blood cells. Okay, cold showers can help boost those. It's going to crash your red blood cells. Okay, hypoxic breath work can help boost that. It's going to crash your platelet levels. Now that's lentils, beans, papaya leaf extract. So I started finding all of these things that I could do, taking agency. The cold showers also, I've since discovered, actually help with mental resilience. You're training yourself to be tougher. You're doing this by getting in the shower and saying, I've had a nice warm shower, now I'm going to put my hand on the thing, turn it to cold, it's going to be unpleasant, and I'm going to do it anyway. You're training yourself to be tougher, but you're also building your immune system. So I also then started a journal, partially because I was learning so much that I felt I had a bit of responsibility to share this with other brains patients that I'd connected with, but also because it was good catharsis for me, just to actually process and journal this stuff out and talk about it. One of the first calls that I made after diagnosis was a big fella lurking around here somewhere. You might know him, Jamie. Jamie I've known for many, many years. He and I have supported each other over the years in various adventures. And his first comment to me was, I've seen you on a night out. You're a tough chap to kill. You got this. Now, he may not have said chap, but tough to kill, certainly. And that became something of a mantra for me. How do I live that? How do I be tough to kill? How do I embody that mindset? And we kept going through the treatment cycles and bouncing through the emotional roller coaster of all of this stuff. And at one point, there was a change in the MRI, and they said, yeah, we thought treatment was going okay, but maybe you actually have inoperable regrowth, months to live, kiss your kids goodbye. When you think you're making progress and you hear that message, that knocks you. That knocks you hard. Reality is, I'm actually doing pretty well now. Starting on a new drug in a week or two, but in good shape. They are very, very happy. I've got some symptoms at the moment, brain swelling in the heat especially, but it's related to radiotherapy healing. It's called pseudo-progression. It looks like something changes, so it makes oncologists nervous, but actually, I'm good. So, TCTK became my mantra for the year. Tough chap to kill. We stare down adversity. You only get beat when you stop getting back up. So we punch back. This is for those who refuse to be written off. Those who refuse to be anything other than unstoppable. The survivors, the relentless, the ones among us who turn setbacks into fuel. This isn't about playing safe. This is about standing tall. So we got through treatment, and I continued with my previous plan. My previous business was an event and community business. So I got stuck into raising a round of finance. We're almost done with that. I'm going to go and build a platform called Rodeo. Rodeo is for events and media businesses and communities like this. But unlike these businesses where they run on Facebook or LinkedIn and all the money disappears off to the valley, what we want to do with Rodeo is harness that data monetization in the same way and then share the revenue with the organisers so that they can reinvest it in communities to build the fabric of society better. Society today is more polarised than ever because we shout at one another behind keyboards. When you come together in person for civilised debate and conversation, the world gets better every time. So that's what I'm building right now. And then published the book, which was the story of my last event business, my last community platform, how we did that, how we got that out there. And this year for me, or this last year or so, has been very much around getting through treatment, learning everything I can, supporting other cancer patients on the journey, leaning into my technology community, my recruiter community, and brains patients around the world, learning from one another and supporting one another. So when Jamie saw the journey that had been on, he dropped me a note and said, if you want the Inspire stage and you just want to get some of that story out of your head and share it, you're very welcome to do so. So coming back from this year and finally being back on a stage and giving something back to Jamie, who supported me from day one, feels phenomenally good. I'm going to leave you here and thank you so much for your time.